we have to study about the animal tissue. Already we have studied about that, what is meant by tissue in my previous video, and what is meant by plant tissue. Got it? But now we will again revise the what is meant by tissue, how does the organisms are made from a single cell, and what is the plant tissue, whatever we already have studied about in our previous video. But now we will again revise it. Tissue, I told you, tissue is a group of similar cell and performing the specific function. It's called as tissue. Tissue means what? The bunch of the cell, the group of the cell, and which are performing the specific function is called as tissue. And we all living organism like us are made from a single cell. It is a single cell. The bunch of the cell, group of the cell form tissue. The group of the tissue form organ, and group of the organ from organ system, and group of the organ system from the organisms. Let's see example. Like a cell, the bunch of the cell tissue, and bunch of the tissue organ like our stomach. And in our stomach, small intestine, large intestine, esophagus, all together form a digestive system. There are many systems which is present in our body, like the digestive system, respiratory systems, and all together we are from a organism. Already I had taught about in the previous video. Got it, everybody? In the we have studied the plant tissue and animal tissue. Plant tissue we already detailed study about in our previous video. The plant tissue, I told you there are two types of the plant tissue: meristematic tissue and permanent tissue. Meristematic tissue means the tissue which is dividing tissue, which is present on the growing parts of the plant, like tips of the root, tips of the shoot, means there the plant is grow, the branches will be grow, the tip of the branches which is present the meristematic tissue. And permanent tissue, the tissue which is take the permanent shape, they are not dividing. When the meristematic tissue lost their cell division ability, that times it convert into the permanent tissue. Already we have studied in the details in my previous video. Meristematic tissue, there are three types of the meristematic tissue: apical meristematic tissue, lateral meristematic tissue, and intercalary. Apical means it helps to increase the size, increase the height of the plant. Lateral tissue to increase the diameter of the plant. The stem is very small, very small diameter when in the small plant, but whenever the plant will be grow, that times their diameter is increased. Because why? The lateral meristematic tissue. And intercalary, it is present in the node and internode. Already I taught in. If you have not understanding, you will watch the previous video. And permanent tissue, there are three types of the permanent tissue: protective tissue, supportive tissue, and conductive tissue. Protective tissue means which is present in the outer surface of the part, means it main function the protection of the plant. And supportive, there are three types of the supportive tissue: parenchyma, collenchyma, and sclerenchyma. It is also called as a simple permanent tissue. Why simple permanent tissue? Because this tissue is made from the same kind of the cells, same cells, the group of the similar cell, which from the tissue it is called as a simple tissue. And the simple tissue is converted into three types: parenchyma, collenchyma, and sclerenchyma. And conductive tissue, it is also called as complex tissue. Why it is complex? Because it is made from the different types of the cells. This tissue is called as a complex tissue. It is also called as the conducting tissue. Why it is called conducting tissue? Because it conduct the water and mineral. That's why it is called as a conductive tissue. There are two types of the conductive tissue: xylem and phloem. Xylem conduct the water and mineral from roots to the upward part of the plant, and phloem is conduct the food material from leaf to the all parts of the plant. Already we have studied about that the previous video in the plant tissue. Now we have to study about details in the animal tissue. We are animal. So many animals are present in nature. Most of the animals are multicellular. Multicellular means the animal is made from a many cell, and unicellular means the animal is made from a single cell. Today we have to study about that the animal tissue. First of all, we will study with the help of tree diagrams animal tissue. Animal tissue, there are 4 types of the animal tissue. With the help of tree diagram, I will explain. There are 4 types of animal tissue. First is the epithelial tissue. Epithelial tissue. Epithelial tissue, it is the present in the outer covering of the outer covering tissue. Main function of the epithelial tissue is the protection, secretion, absorption. Each and every tissue I will explain you details in later. And second type of the animal tissue is the muscular tissue. Muscular tissue. Our muscle is made from muscular tissue, and with the help of muscular tissue we can movement of our body. And third type of the tissue is a connective tissue. Connective tissue. It is very important tissue because all body part is connect to each other with the help of connective tissue. And the fourth type of the tissue is called as a nervous tissue. Nervous tissue. First upon, in this video we have to study about that the epithelial tissue. Epithelial tissue, there is also 4 subtype of the epithelial tissue. Squamous epithelial, as per their shapes, it is divided into the 4 types. Squamous epithelial, cuboidal epithelial tissue. Third type is the columnar epithelial. It is a column-like structure, columnar epithelial. And fourth is a ciliated epithelial tissue. Muscular tissue, it is also divided into the 3 types of the tissue. Muscular tissue means our body muscle is made from the muscular tissue. First is the voluntary tissue. Voluntary tissue means the tissue which is controlled in our willpower. Voluntary, it is also called as voluntary muscle also. Second type is the non-voluntary. Non-voluntary, otherwise involuntary. Involuntary means which is not controlled in our willpower. Later I will explain in details what is meant by voluntary, non-voluntary and cardiac muscle. Cardiac muscle. Cardiac muscle, it is very strong muscle and which is present in our only heart. The heart is made from the cardiac muscle. Got it everybody? The connective tissue, it is very important. First of all, I told you there are 3 types of the connective tissue. First is the connective tissue proper. Connective tissue proper. Second, the skeletal tissue. Skeletal tissue. And third type is the fluid connective tissue. Fluid connective tissue. And fourth is a nervous tissue. Each and now I explain only how many types of the tissue which are present in our body. One by one I will explain each and every types of the tissue in details. Got it everybody? Animal tissue is divided into the 4 main types of the tissue. Epithelial tissue, muscular tissue, connective tissue and nervous tissue. Epithelial tissue, it is divided subtypes of squamous epithelial, cuboidal epithelial, columnar epithelial and ciliated epithelial. And muscular tissue, there are also 3 types of the muscular tissue. Voluntary tissue, non-voluntary, it is also called involuntary tissue and cardiac muscle. And connective tissue, it is also divided into the 3 types. Connective tissue proper, skeletal tissue, fluid connective tissue and nervous tissue. All tissue we have to study in details in our next video. But in this video we have to study details about the epithelial tissue. First type of the tissue is called as a epithelial tissue. Epithelial tissue, it is also called as the outer covering of the tissue. Because why? It is the outer surface, the epithelial tissue, which is present in the external surface of the body part. First, cover the surface of the body part, surface of the body part. Either it is internal, either it is a external. Like that our skin is the outer surface of the body, and the skin is made from the epithelial tissue. And what is the main function of the skin? It is the protection from the internal organs. It is prevent the entry of the germs to inside our body. Got it everybody? What is the main? The cover of the surface of the body. It is called as, means our body cover, the outer surface of the body cover, which is made from a epithelial tissue. Either it is internal, either it is external. External is our skin. It is also made from epithelial tissue, and main function of the skin is protection. And in internal, because of so many internal organs are present in our body, like stomach, kidney, small intestine, large intestine, they are outer covering of this organ. The outer covering of this organ, which is made from a epithelial tissue. That's why it is the protection of the internal parts of the. Got it everybody? First characteristics of the epithelial tissue, it cover the outer surface of the body, and most of the epithelial tissue which is present in the lining of the internal organ. Lining of the internal organ means in the blood vessels. It is some blood vessels is made from a single epithelial tissue, means cavities, which is covered the cavities, means like that a tube. The tube is made from a single layer of the plastic. So this plastic is like a tube. In our blood vessel is also tube like, means this tube is made from the single epithelial tissue. There is present the epithelial tissue. Got it everybody? And another function, another characteristics of the epithelial tissue. Epithelial tissue have a nucleus. Nucleus is present in the base of the epithelial. The nucleus is present. Nucleus is present in the base of the cell. Base of the cell. Third characteristics, no intercellular space. No intercellular space in between the cell. Means epithelial cell, this is a base, and the epithelial cell is like that. There is no intercellular space in between the two cells. They are attached to each other. Means they are attached. There is no cavity in between the epithelial cells. The no intercellular space in between the two cells. Got it everybody? And the fourth is the epithelial tissue. Epithelial tissue rest on the basement membrane. Basement membrane means all epithelial tissue have a, this is a basement membrane. This is a basement membrane. All epithelial tissue are rest on the basement membrane, and the nucleus is present on the base of the nucleus. Got it everybody? What is the characteristics of epithelial tissue? Epithelial tissue which is present in the outer surface of the body, like that. Either it is a internal, external. External means the skin is made from epithelial tissue, and it is protect the internal parts of the body, and it is also prevent the entry the germs inside of the body. And in internal, in so many internal organs which are present in our body, and the covering of the internal parts of the body is made from epithelial tissue. The nucleus is present in the base of the cell, means the nucleus is present in the epithelial tissue. There is no intercellular space in between the tissue. They are compact to each other, and the epithelial tissue is rest on the basement membrane. It is a rest on the basement membrane. Got it everybody? These are the characteristics of epithelial tissue. Got it everybody? And there are 4 types of epithelial tissue. I will explain you one by one. First is the squamous. As per their shapes and size, they are divided into the 4 types of the epithelial tissue. Squamous epithelial means it is the irregular shape, like that is the basement membrane, irregular shape of the cell. This is called as squamous epithelial, and it is present in the skin and external part of the body. The main function of squamous epithelial is a protection. Cuboidal epithelial means the cell is a cube-like structure. Cube-like structure. This is called as the cuboidal epithelial, and it is present in the pancreas, salivary gland, liver, and main function is the secretion. Salivary gland secrete the saliva, liver is secrete the bile juice, which is present in the cuboidal epithelial. And third type is the columnar epithelial, means column-like structure. The cell is a column. This is the basement membrane and the column-like structure. This is a columnar epithelial. Got it, everybody? And fourth type of the epithelial tissue is the ciliated epithelial. Ciliated epithelial, the shape of the ciliated epithelial tissue, either it is the cube-like, either it is a column-like. But why it is different? Because over the cube or column have a cilia-like structure. So it is called as the ciliated epithelium, and it is present in the inner lining of our nose, trachea, windpipe, and the main function to prevent the entry of the germs inside our nose, in our respiratory tract. Got it, everybody? There are 4 types of epithelial tissue, and it is divided as per their shapes. And main function, the function of epithelial tissue, the function of epithelial tissue is a epithelial tissue. First is the protection internal parts. Second is the secretion of the juice, and third is the absorption. There are 3 main functions of the epithelial tissue. Got it, everybody? What is meant by epithelial tissue? What is the characteristics of epithelial tissue? What is the function of epithelial tissue? And there are 4 types of the epithelial tissue. It is divided, the 4 types of epithelial tissue, as per their shapes. Got it, everybody? In next video, I will explain you the muscular tissue. Thank you.